show! From Michael Bay to Marvel UK and everyone in between. Breaking news and toy reviews, every robot fans wet dream. Grab a brew and join the crew, become part of our scene. Bring your own, let's drink our own, make sure you're at least 18. Welcome to the show, Third Party and Hasbro. Friday nights, let's go, Transformers the show.
Hello and welcome to Transformers the Show as you join us for a very exciting Hasbro Pulse Fanstream reveal. We absolutely have no idea what's going to be shown today, and unless, of course, you've looked at Amazon stock photos, then you might give an educated guess about some Constructicons, a Megatron, a Starscream, Transformers 1. But apart from that, we have no clue what's going to be there. What do you think, Steve?
I think you're quite right, mate. I think it's an absolute mystery. I don't think any of those leaks have been correct in any way, shape, or form.
I don't, with our keen eyesight, maybe we should, I don't know, maybe we should be detectives. I don't know.
I can barely investigate the contents of my own Transformers storage boxes sometimes, let alone try my hand at anything detective related.
I know, but I am looking forward to this. It'd be nice to see in-hand images, because I think some of the Hasbro images of Megatron, I think the person's been in Photoshop Studio a bit too much and sexed up the images. And I think that's what's caused the bottom half of Megatron's legs to look more blue-grey than they really actually are. Because I think he's put so much effort into trying to look the black to make it look very visible. Yeah. He's lost track of what's happened to the bottom. That's my theory. I could be entirely wrong, at which case I will edit this bit out. And we'll never know.
You read my mind, mate. I'm really, really intrigued to see how blue or not blue those legs are, because I was looking at some stuff earlier and I just can't see any point of reference from Megatron at all anywhere in his history, be it comic books, cartoons, anywhere where that shade of blue comes into play. So I don't quite know where it's come from a design perspective.
I think it's just that, and that's sometimes, I think that's the trouble when you sort of sex up images with Photoshop, especially if you do it by auto means. I mean, auto's quite good sometimes because it gives you an idea to work towards, and then you can look to see what it's done. And I think sometimes you could just get lost without realizing. And I think it's one advantage of working with dioramas is that sometimes you always have a true center, like a true north, to make you realize, oh my God, what's happened to the colors? You know, they've kind of gone, you know, but yeah, you know, I think that's what's happened, really.
But there's a lot. I mean, I appreciate, obviously we're still waiting on a technical official reveal, but there's a lot of good photos. The Notrab, who I know is somebody whose photos you guys cover on the news a lot of the time when the reveals get made. He's put up a whole gallery of stuff for that 86 Megatron, and I have to say it really does look quite good.
Awesome, doesn't it? He's a really good. I mean, that's the thing. I think with most toy photographers out there, they can sometimes just make a product look even better than it is.
Yeah.
And he's.
I will be interested to see if that Studio Series, the 86 Megatron, sways anybody away from the New Age Romulus, the sort of third party.
I think it already has. I think just by its size, it already has, and I think. I just think the Romulus people must be kicking themselves because they would realised about Studio Series 86 coming, Optimus Prime. I think they would have backtracked and made them bigger.
I think New Age will probably get the drop. I mean, I appreciate it's not been officially revealed yet, so we probably shouldn't be talking about repaints. But when New Age might have the advantages, they'll probably be able to pump out some repaints quick, smart, that maybe Hasbro won't necessarily have in the offing. So you think, sort of, if you cast your mind back way back when you had the black E-Hobby Megatron with the brown gun handle based off the microchange deco, we've never seen that used in generations, and that does strike me as the sort of thing the third party companies might grab hold of.
Well, see, I'm kind of hoping with Hasbro giving out its license to third-party companies like Blockies, for example, just a random company I just happened to pick out of the ether. I'm kind of hoping that we're going to see more examples of different versions of our beloved characters in different colors, in different attires, you know, something which we're not used to. And I think that might attract people, especially if it's a cheaper representation, because you don't want to be paying 55 quid for another 8 Megatron. I mean, is it 8 or 9 molds of that Megatron out now? Of the one
So
which,
if you count the Earthrise and the Siege ones, obviously as the same
yeah,
toy, which fundamentally are, 'cause there's a very minor bit of remolding there. I did a quick tot up earlier, and between Hasbro and Takara, I counted 13.
13. See, I could believe that, and it's not even that great a mold. It was great at the time.
Yes.
You know, it was something groundbreaking. You know, and then over time, I started to build up a resentment towards it. You know,
Well,
and I just think we could have moved on more and more since
yeah,
then.
and I appreciate that neither of our winning smiles and boyish good looks would give it away, Jamie. But that mold, that Megatron mold that we're just talking about, is 5 years old now.
And I look 5 years younger. I de-aged when Megatron's got older. Yeah. But come on, Hasbro Pulse, you 2 more minutes, and then we'll know for sure.
I was going to say, well, I'm hoping. I can't remember if because they didn't do it last time. I'm hoping they'll do the. I really like it when they are about other people when they do the little space bridge section at the end, and they show up sort of bits of placeholder artwork just to kind of give you a bit of a tease of what else is coming. I'm hoping we're going to get one of those today.
You know what I would love? If Hasbro would release high definition placeholder artwork for toy photographers to use in the background. That
Yeah.
would just be amazing, Hasbro, if you would do that. I think people would love it.
We talk about things in the background. Did you notice on the again talk about Megatron, because I think he's going to be the big the big reveal today. They seem to have dropped the diorama background from the Studio Series 86 packaging.
Oh yes, I see. I and kind of dropped to name 86 as well, which is kind of, I think, confuses things. I think they should have kept 86. I do understand the diorama thing, but I also think it's kind of sad because I really like the box work.
Yes,
Oh, the
the
box art.
packaging was phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. Yeah, you're right.
And now I was collecting it. Now it doesn't seem any difference from the Age of Primes. It does at a glance to me, who's very untrained eye, doesn't notice much stuff. It doesn't look that different to me.
I've just seen the comment in the chat there from Mick, and where it says about some comic reveals, please. And again, I'm already thinking ahead to these Megatron 86 reveals. I wonder if we get a Marvel Comics decode Megatron. That would be
and Gladiator
fantastic.
with his golden chest,
Yeah,
his golden
as well as yeah, that would be phenomenal.
That has to be the priority. I'm sorry, Steve. That has to be the priority. We need that first, because that was really his first sort of, you know, when he didn't really know what Megatron looked.
Oh, we're up.
I'm Evan. Hi, everybody. Evan's here with us. So excited to have you back. I like being in non-meetings with you. This way more exciting. We've been talking about this fan stream for a while. Yes. I know there's a lot of things. 86 Megatron. Got it. Yep. He's here. Finally. Appreciate your patience. Not everything is always in our control when we reveal things, so really appreciate your patience here. We're going to go over all the fine details of him. If you have any questions, please throw them in the comments. Again, we want to make sure that you guys have the information straight from the guy who designed it.
One of the designers.
One of the designers.
If he got his name.
Yuya-san, over at
Yuya-san.
Takara Tomy. Yeah. He also did the Fallen. He's like the tank dude. So
yeah. So incredibly excited. We have a lot
I'm more
of things
intrigued
to
at the
go.
moment
So,
where I can get that
of
Blaster
course,
t-shirt.
Everything here goes live
Yeah.
for pre-order at 1 p.m. Eastern. We're not doing any exclusives today. This is just Studio Series. Last fan stream was Age of the Primes.
Yep.
That's why we had Mark. Today we got Studio Series. No exclusives. We're going to go over a couple of them, but pre-orders, 1 p.m., all multi-channel. So it should be a lot simpler than the last speech I had for the pre-orders we had for Age of the Primes.
I think so. We may or may not have a few surprises.
Yes, we do have some, and I'm glad you mentioned that. So we are going to have our very first.
He keeps
fan
looking at
poll
him, wishing he had a
question.
name
Yes,
tag
I'm
on
very
him.
excited about. We often are saying, Evan, what do you think the fans would think about this? And you say this most of the time we're aligned. Sometimes we disagree. And this question, I think you're going to really like. So stay to the end, because we really want your answers. Truly, we really want your answer. This is yes or no question. I'm going to get into it later. We are also going to show.
The question is, shall we release the
at least since
bots? And the answer is
Devastator,
yes.
some gray models, early prototypes, and I believe
Yep.
this is the
probably
very
have a heart
first
attack.
time you'll see any 2026.
Yes. Yep. We wanted to make sure we didn't just want to throw up through the space bridge. We wanted to actually show you some of the development, kind of let you guys see the very beginning and things.
Oh,
So it's
this
very
is good.
exciting.
Yes, this is. really excited about this. And we're also going to respond to some fan comments, which I think is also a first time.
It is.
So we got a lot. So everyone's probably saying, can you please just show Megatron?
Yes.
So let's show you Studio Series 86 Megatron. Trust me.
Also,
know
interesting,
that
he's
you've
referred
seen
to it
images
as
of
Studio
this, so
Series
again,
86
appreciate your
there.
patience, but
Yeah.
now we have the Hasbro design with Evan. So
Yeah,
Evan,
that looks great to me.
please.
It's Megatron. It's 86 Megatron.
If
I know
anything,
everybody's been
navy
waiting for
grey.
this guy for quite a while. Really happy that we finally got
It
him
is,
out
isn't
there.
it? It
He
is
has
Yeah.
did an absolutely fantastic job on the design.
Yeah,
It really
he-
just all came together.
it was
in
just the
end.
photos. He just sexed it
I
up
don't
too
know.
much.
Where do I even begin? What are your questions?
I have. So the question, obviously, I've seen you be interviewed at last year's Comic-Con. This is a discussion that's been around for goodness, probably decades at least.
A
That's
couple
foretold
years.
by
Ever since I've
Jamie
been doing,
earlier.
like San Diego Comic Cons, we've always gotten the question of blaster or tank, and I've always been very upfront that he will always be a tank, just because we can't.
Legal.
Yeah.
It is a
It is
legal
illegal.
toy guidelines. I mean, that's about as transparent as we can get. That's literally what the issue is. We're not trying to change canon, but I do love, at least in Transformers Devastation, where he's a tank. I've grew up with him as a blaster, but also I think kind of grown into the tank. I think personally, I like the tank better. Controversial, maybe. I know people are on both sides of it, but here we are.
Yep. We wanted to give you both though. So he does come with his tiny blaster form that you can use for any of your other like Decepticons to hold. My favorite is Starscream, obviously, when he holds it and goes, "Ooh," and he blows Brawn away. To be honest, when we were first talking about revealing him before he got revealed, I was just going to put the blaster on the table and just leave the tank off. And
We got
just be-
scooped.
Well, yeah, a little bit, and just be like, "Look, we figured out mass compression." And I was like, "Oh no, not really." But really, just happy with this figure overall. I guess some of the finer details that we really wanted to get into with him. He does actually have butterfly hinge articulation. So you can actually pop out his shoulders just a little
Oh,
bit, and
fantastic.
then he can bring it forward.
Oh,
we've
yes.
not
so that he
seen
can
we've
do
not
a
seen
lot
much
more
about
of
the
his iconic
articulation
poses.
before, have we?
Whenever he
Yeah,
fires his blaster
no,
in the
not in
animation,
the
he's
photos.
always holding it like this,
They'll
like
be
with
able
his
to
hand like
do
that.
that.
I'm assuming that's
Classic.
because that's how the original toy was.
Like it, the
back in the
Conan
day.
pose,
So,
the
but in
Conan the
modern
Barbarian
comics, they
pose.
always kind of put his hand down.
Yeah,
No, in the
yeah.
animation, he's always holding it like that. So he can do both. Whatever you guys want to do right there.
Oh,
But yeah, he comes with a sword that he uses to almost fatally wound Optimus Prime.
Oh,
That
the
was something
famous
that we wanted to
two-handed
put in
pose.
there as
Yeah.
a good representation of the 86 scene to do that final fight. And actually, just to kind of show off some height.
Ooh, look at the numbers in fine.
Here. So he's a little bit taller than Optimus, as I think everybody agrees he should be. So here he is next to Studio Series 86 Optimus Prime. It's a couple millimeters taller. So he has just great proportions.
Yeah.
Really wanted to make sure he
Definitely
get in there.
scales better than the
Controversial.
Romulus.
Obviously,
I
in
think
tank
it's
mode,
good, but I don't think
rolls,
he should be taller than
his tank
Optimus. I
turret
think it should be the
rotates,
same.
And then, yeah,
And talk about how you landed on this form of the tank.
oh, certainly. So after doing some research, this is actually we based it off of a prototype tank that was never produced in the 80s, and it ended up being called like the Armored Blaster System or something like that. It's like that's perfect. That's that is
sounds like
that is literally that's literally what Megatron should be. So that's what we based a lot of this off of, and Yugi-san just did a great job. We in the original kickoff doc over to Takara Tomy, I kind of put in, it's like, it would be great if we could actually focus a lot of the tank transformation into the legs, because he has a lot of leg mass. So there's a lot that you could hide in there. And we didn't want to give him like a monstrous backpack, which we've been doing. And it gave him a nice, sleek silhouette. I'm just really happy.
He's incredibly sleek. And I think if you could talk about, because I'm looking at this, and this reminds me a lot of the Takara Tomy masterpiece, and like there's just like no kibble on the back.
Nice.
I was
And if,
literally
from
just
what
about
I
to
can
say,
see,
no
it really
kibble,
seems
there's
like
no
the only
backpack.
way you can even identify that this, he's converts into a tank.
Gun
is
collectors
the
have
treads,
evolved.
which you can kind
We've
of see on the
surpassed
back.
Hanging out of the
masterpiece.
back of his legs.
Other than that, I mean, are there any details I'm missing that? But other than that, I really don't even see anything that is not from even season 1, season 2.
No, to reference the masterpiece, obviously, if you've ever played with that toy, its transformation is insane. So,
They usually are.
yeah. But no, this was just kind of doing the best we could with what we had, and so what happened. And I'm just really happy, really proud of it. the side skirts were actually a big priority. I know that's something we don't always get on our Transformer figures, but it's such an iconic part of his silhouette that we wanted to make sure it was there. He has hand-finger articulation, rotating wrists. Yeah, really just, it's a great figure overall.
No, it looks fantastic. I still can't get over how patient you were with 86 segment, with holding Megatron at 2025. It's very impressive. I know you
If
have
you
a long
hounding me
list.
every year, it's like, "Hey, let's do 86 Megatron." It's like, hold. Like,
There's a plan.
yeah. But yeah, really just happy with how he came out.
No, he looks fantastic.
should
And
be.
again, pre-orders 1 p.m. Eastern. Really excited. He'll be the last wave of leader in Studio Series 2025.
Mhm.
And his buddy who will be in the case back with him,
Oh yeah, let's talk about him. You got him right over there.
a familiar friend. Of course, yes, the rumors are true.
People will be happy for this.
The-
Very, very much. So that's been
unchanged,
going for some absolutely insane
This is
prices
the
on
original
the
scope.
aftermarket.
You know us. We love our
Original
Dinobots.
flavor,
Yeah,
perhaps?
original flavor.
Yeah.
So of course, 86 Grimlock. Completely understand. This was the first Dinobot we did.
Yep.
Goodness, when was that? 2020?
2020, 2021.
Sadly, still comes with
Around there,
wheelie,
so
but
like
you
kind
can't
of
have
COVID
everything.
time. So and I think a lot of people were getting back into Transformers collecting.
Yeah.
And honestly, a huge part of that is COVID, but also what you and Mark
I
have
think
done.
the
And just the
saddest thing
designs, and
is
obviously
when you
with
listen to the
Takara Tomy,
engineers talk about
just
it,
the
they had so
designs,
much
the
more
articulation,
planned.
the details,
and they're
just,
always
you gotta
getting
really
held
take
back.
it to different levels. So people are like, "Oh my gosh, this is not what I remember Transformers being like." These are so amazing.
Well, one of the things that I think really sold this is when we sold and we showed that we were going to do all 5
Yes.
at leader scale. And obviously, this was done by Hasui-san over at Takara Tomy, so it's freaking
Did
fantastic.
he just say all
And
5?
he did all the Dinobots.
When they
and we know that
originally,
you all have been
yeah.
asking us, please
planned
rerun
it, he
him.
was talking
We
about all
told you
5.
we will. Thank you for being patient. He's coming.
So if you missed them in the first time, again, we do always want to make sure that as best we can complete every collection. And again, I know there's clearly the demand shows that a lot of people missed out on him.
Yep.
So-
Original flavor.
Yeah, it's the original flavor. He's back.
Oh. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, of course, comes with wheelie.
It does come with
These,
wheelie, comes with this
these
blaster,
reruns
and
seem to
then
be
that kind
working
of wraps up
quite well. I
our
mean, you look at what's
leader set.
Yeah,
come out
that's leader
via
for
ID
Studio
Toys
Series.
come
I
out
don't
this
think
week
we
with
need to
things
spend
like
a whole lot. I mean,
Earthrise
people
Thrust.
know Grimlock.
There
They
really
love
is a
Grimlock. They
demand
love this
for some of these
figure.
reruns.
This honestly,
Yeah,
this is one of the
especially
first ones I
getting
bought
Thrust.
getting back into
Thrust
Transformers.
again is a good one.
So, yeah, love anytime that we can get a figure that's in super high demand to get them back out at retail. So hopefully you guys appreciate that. Again, this is us looking at like, wow, there's a lot of demand for this figure.
Yep. And trying to listen and trying to just meet that demand
Absolutely.
when we can. Yeah.
Absolutely.
But okay, on to Voyagers.
I think we're going to go reverse order. Megatron kind of
He set the
is
standard.
setting. Yeah, exactly.
Set the
Setting the
pace.
pace here.
Yeah,
Exactly.
how do you follow?
So
How do you
we've
follow
got,
86 Megatron?
2 for our final wave in Voyager. Evan's grabbing those right now, and that is going to be, which one do you want to do first?
We're gonna start with Thundercracker.
Thundercracker. So thank you for grabbing
Oh.
all of the Seekers, of course.
Well,
You guys
wanted to
show
show
them
them all.
collection. So of course, this is War for Cybertron.
That's a
Voyager
pity.
scale.
I know there's a lot of people
Thundercracker
hoping
is
you'd
my
be
personal
darker
favorite
blue.
of the Seekers.
Yeah.
Because he's blue?
I do love the real.
It's a
classic
lot
blue.
more
Obviously, loves
Animation blue
all the
than it is
colors.
original.
My son actually was a
1984 toy
Skywalker
blue, isn't it?
costume
Does he
a
look
couple
purple?
years ago.
Is that his
He
thing?
used to, the years change. They change every day.
You are reminding me of back when we would do some like fan and kid testing, and we were trying to see like what alt modes that kids were really drawn to.
Yeah.
And a lot of kids like would grab Thundercracker and they would ask him why. And it's like, because he's a blue jet. And everybody just, yeah. And that was pretty much it. They weren't exactly sure who he was, but they were like, he's a blue jet.
It just looks cool.
yeah. And he just looks,
It doesn't take much more than that.
yeah.
So
War for Cybertron Thundercracker.
yeah,
Here he is with the other Seekers. Happy to complete this trio. Obviously, this was done by Tomo-san, who has done all of these. And something that we wanted to do was we wanted to make sure that each head had a unique expression for all of them. And what we did is we actually followed the in-game models for some of their coloring. And what that means is if you watch any of the cutscenes in the game, they actually all have very different eye colors, which I thought was very interesting. Instead of all the Seekers having red eyes, they all kind of very.
I didn't know that.
And then Thundercrackers are actually kind of yellow, which was interesting. So we wanted to follow that, even though the art always shows them it's red. Old game, they didn't exactly follow all the art when they were actually making the assets. We understand that working on
Yes.
movie stuff,
Yes, we
working on
do.
concept art constantly, but happy to get that out there. He comes with essentially a expanded sized version of like the classic machine gun, machine blaster. And then he has his melee weapon.
I mean, it's
that
really
they
nice
all
to
kinda
see
came
these
with.
games
But yeah,
still getting
here he is.
referenced,
Here's
because I
Thundercracker.
think
Oh,
they're in
looks
danger of
awesome.
becoming a bit
This-
lost media, these games,
So how do
if we're not
you?
careful.
I know
And they
we're talking
really
about character
were
selections all the time.
really were quality stuff.
How do you choose the rollout of the
Yeah.
Seekers? Have we
It's
always
just
done Starscream
you can just
first?
see the enthusiasm
Sometimes,
Evan's got and the
I think
genuine love
Starscream's
coming
always a
across
guarantee
there.
because he's the
course.
seeker that everybody knows.
Yeah.
Like name wise, it's like, oh, that's Starscream. He's the jet. Blue is my favorite color, so I would always lean towards Thundercracker starting. People love Skywarp because black and purple. You can't beat that color combination, and then people just love Starscream, right? But more often than not, Starscream will usually lead the way since he's the leader of the Seekers. But yeah, here you go. You can complete your trio.
Is it
now.
wrong, Jamie, that I want those
let's see
three
anything
in a
else
triple pack
before
as
we
part of
move
the
on to our
Takara
next
Dramatic Capture
No, I'm good
series?
if
Is
you're
that
good.
wrong?
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm definitely good.
That is
Obviously,
wrong.
he still has the arm swapping mechanic.
it's
that
so
the rest of
wrong,
them
it
have
almost
because
feels
it's a
right.
Cybertron figure, so they can swap off their arm for their weapon. Yeah, I think that kind of covers him. So we'll move on to a piece of Devastator.
A piece of Devastator, my favorite Constructicon.
Really? Yeah. Any particular reason why?
Because he's a cement mixer.
A classic 80s cement mixer.
Exactly.
Before modern designs got weird and turned
Yeah.
everything around. Yeah. I still get confused when I see him on the street, and it's like,
That's
"What's he
got a
driving
lovely
backwards?" No.
Yeah, it's done well
But
there.
yeah, here we go.
Done
Here's
very well.
Mixmaster. Voyager scale. So yeah, I know that there were some questions on why are some of
They
them
might say
Voyager, why are
scrap
some
it.
of them deluxe. Mixmaster is a Voyager because he's one of the feet, so we had to build in ratchets so that he could have an ankle tilt when he becomes Devastator. So that's definitely one of the reasons. Obviously, all the Constructicons were done by Hasui-san over at Takara Tomy, who also worked on the previous version of Devastator. So
That
taking a lot of
explains why
learnings
they're
from
so
that, putting them
similar.
in here.
You know, more
It's
like
a fantastic
downscaled
figure.
versions.
He's a lot of fun. I hope you all enjoy.
No, it's like I said, I love
No
this one.
obvious, there's no obvious
To get
gaps
him,
on that.
again, just
That
all
looks
in
really
1 year,
smart.
still incredibly excited. I'm still waiting on my Commander Voyager 2-pack.
It's like all the
Should be
badness
very,
when
very
it's
soon.
Bone Crusher.
I know he's out there. Oh yeah. No, I know he's out there, and so we've seen obviously lots of pieces you guys
Malevolence.
are already collecting. So really excited to see that. I think no surprise that Devastator was going to be a huge hit with the fans.
Yep.
So really excited to get this out there. Again, the patience that you've shown to wait until this point is impressive. But we're finally getting them out here. Do you want to get the other guy?
Yeah, let's just jump right to that, and then we'll just-
let's straight to us. I know there's been some images online of Scrapper, but also Devastator. So let's bring out Scrapper. Can you?
You want to put them next to each other?
Yeah, and can you talk about? Cause I see on the fan channels a lot of conversation on the scales, and it seems like a lot of fans understand.
Oh, it's like
scales
another
of,
Bone
like,
Crusher.
Deluxe.
Yeah,
equals
when he talks
4
about fan
inches, and
channels, I
Voyager
do. I
equals
wonder
something.
where.
Can you
Yeah.
kind of
I
go
wonder
into
what
a little
kind of
explanation
boards or
on,
anything
how you determine
social media
scales
feeds they
and
scour
really
for those comments.
what it's
Yeah.
really more the price point. It's not even really necessarily the height of the figure or the size of the figure. Like Bumblebee's a really good example in Deluxe, where he's typically smaller, but
Yeah.
where you're able to have like more deco and more accessories.
It is true. When we bump it up to Voyager, we have more tooling available towards us, which is usually what we need for internals on a lot of like these figures. So that's one of the big differences between like Mixmaster and Scavenger.
Scavenger. Sorry,
Scavenger.
I said
Yeah.
Scrapper.
Yeah, no, it's okay. I have a weird dyslexic thing where I always
Yeah.
mix them up as well.
It's because
yeah,
they both
like,
look not
Yeah.
when you see it.
One of the reasons, obviously, then is, as I said before, Mixmaster has a ratchet actually built into the side of his waist. And that's because when he becomes Devastator, he needs that to support the full body and might of 5 other robots combined onto him. Which actually, speaking of,
Yeah, let's bring him out. Bring him out.
yep. Here we go. We have our completed Devastator right here.
It does look very
Might
smart.
Devastator.
Yeah. And
But yeah, I
smaller.
think he came together quite well.
Awesome.
Just it has you in silence. Just
No, I mean it's just. I mean, I've had the previous version on my desk for so long, and like obviously the other one is bigger, but this one with modern articulation, modern like I'm certainly a sucker for the
It
cartoon.
looks more solid, but you
animation
could actually play
accuracy.
with
I
it.
know there's depends on who you ask on what they're looking for, but I think you guys just did such an incredible job, and it scales so
'Cause
well.
we definitely don't have
Actually,
enough
actually
Devastators to
optimistic
choose
about
from
that.
in the
Have you been
fandom.
up to this?
He's
Oh,
always
yeah.
been he's
Because
always been
again, to show
an
the
underdone
scale, which
character.
is like critical, because again, there's times where we have so many conversations about scale, and I know you are such a purist when it comes to like
I think
86
it
is
works.
scale, and I know the fans appreciate it. And
very
then-
much
and
so.
You can see that actually. Do you might grab Grimlock too? I mean, might as well we have them show really the kind of
Oh, I should have brought Sludge so we can pick him up and throw him.
with the eyes out of the
Yeah. Oh God. I did not understand what was happening when I was a kid watching that scene. Funny story about Devastator is many years ago when Takara Tomy came to visit us,
Yeah.
and we were talking about what was going to happen in the future. And we were like, oh, so what are some ideas that you're thinking about? We were out to dinner, and I was just talking with Hisui-san. And it was like, oh, I think Devastator would be very fun to do.
Yeah.
Before we even kicked it off, the next time they came and visited, he brought a block model, and it was just like, oh, okay, you've been thinking about
Yeah,
this.
that's exactly.
Yeah, and everybody's reaction was, whoa, Devastator, and everybody got super excited about it. It got everybody on board because we were still kind of hesitating if we were going to do it all in 1 year or space it out from 2 years.
So I was really
Seeing the block model in
surprised with
person when they
the
brought it, it shifted to, we had
Combinables
to do
one
it
that
all
they
in
never
1 year.
leaned into the yellow
So,
or the orange repaint.
It's very
So I wonder if
exciting.
we'll get that with
It's
this one.
just fun to do a combiner
Yeah,
for
I
86
honestly
in Studio Series.
think
And that was one of the differences from
Hasbro
Menasaur,
might have-
where, if I remember
they were doing it with
correctly,
other combiners,
Glenn
weren't they?
developed
Yeah.
Devastate all the
E2 cars.
pieces together, which is what
And
you're
it was
just talking
basically a
about versus kind of in stages
size
previously.
scale to
No,
them.
but
So
when we design combiners,
yeah,
everything is
maybe
usually
more
started all
tricky
at
for them.
once in very rough form factors, a block model. It's Menasaur was also developed like that, but at the end, the final piece had to be moved out of wave
Yeah.
due to some logistics stuff that came up, but that happens. But this one, we made sure everybody in 1 year. Well, yeah,
it does look
it's
so good, but it
Devastator.
looks
I'm pretty happy
playable.
with him, and I
It
hope
looks
you
like
all
you
are
could
as
have it
well,
on your
and
desk.
I hope you all
Where
have fun building and playing with him.
my Devastator,
any more
you touch
details
something, it
on,
wobbles or something can move,
on
and the gun
Scavenger?
falls.
Just want to make sure we don't just kind of go straight to Devastator. But if there's
I mean,
anything on Scavenger you want to highlight?
Always a good shout from Guyver 400 there in
He's
the
an
chat.
excavator.
A cell shaded devastation version. That'd be, yeah,
I mean, he's a
equally
solid
as
figure.
smart.
He has all the standard articulation that he needs to have for a deluxe. It's one of those things where when you're talking about the individual Constructicons, I immediately go to, well, they make Devastator, so let's talk about Devastator. Yeah. He just, I hope you all enjoy him.
And to just say again, I know we've talked about this with fans a bunch. We really are encouraging you to collect these this year in 2025. I can speak transparently. What we've said, I mean, goodness, at least for a year now,
We're not doing a gift set.
There's no
for a
plans for a gift set for 26 or 27 right
Oh.
now.
Yeah.
We are knee deep in 2027 planning, and we are not planning a box set for 2026
That's
or
good to know.
2027. And that's intentional. That's not to say that we'll never do one, but again, we want to make sure that
We'll do it
you know,
28.
there's some exclusivity in the year, but also some excitement. So then we can move on to other combiners. Obviously, we've already talked about Bruticus is coming in Age of the Primes. We'll kind of talk about some combiners later on in this fan stream, actually. But just wanted to put that out there again because I feel like, well, I heard them say this, but I don't believe that's like. I can
Yeah.
tell you again, there's no plans for a box set in
That's,
2026, 27.
that's really,
but who knows for the future?
that's
we
really
do love
solid information.
G2.
There's no
There's all
ambiguity
sorts of
about
different
that. I
options.
like
Obviously,
that.
there's the toy accuracy
Yeah.
that we've
Plus,
talked
we're
about
not
as well,
getting
but-
younger.
if
People
there's
like
anybody
Pete
that
need
knows
to
how to
buy these
redeco,
toys
it's the
when they
Transformer
can.
team. So yes, Redecos will be
Louder.
coming in the
I'm saying nothing.
Just maybe not right now.
Yeah, exactly.
But okay, shall we move on to the other deluxes?
Let's do it.
Okay.
So that wraps up the last wave of Voyager. So again, that's Mixmaster from 86, Thundercracker from War for Cybertron. Thank you so much for always remembering to bring the other figures for scale.
I try here and there. So what would you like to do next?
I mean, your call. Well, I mean, so we just did Scavenger. You want to do Elite 1 since we've already had our pre-order?
Certainly.
So here's obviously Transformers 1, Elite 1. So we launched this pre-order, goodness, I think 6 months ago in
Yes,
the movie
with a
here.
prototype model. That
With a
wouldn't stand
prototype
up.
model, painted model. So
She
this
has
is-
heels. I
Yeah.
promise you. She will stand. Yeah, that was great. The prototype model that we had for that stream back then had been used for the stop motion animation. So they had
Yes.
drilled into the feet and they had removed the heels. And it was just like, oh, come
That
on,
was
please.
such a scramble to get a
Oh.
model ready for that pre-order. But here she is.
Yep.
I'm so pleased how they did her character in the film.
Yes.
Really, really well done. Really like her, and glad that she's getting kind of a moment
Yeah,
to shine. But yeah, talk to us about the design.
certainly. So
If only
worked
they'd
with
released this a
Jim
year
Asano,
ago
which
when the
Tomi on
movie
this,
was actually out.
came out freaking amazing. She has a
Yeah.
very interesting form factor.
And-
She's very
I always
spindly
feel
in one
like
leg.
Companies at
Um,
Yellow Park
which is-
and
which is
Blockies have
bad.
kind of taken up the bastion or
we
the
gave her a
torch.
tracker
very-
blaster,
and done such a
which
good
is
job.
like that generic blaster that you kind of see everybody using in the film. She can use it like all the other characters can use it, and she also comes with the mining jetpack that they have.
I was just looking at that.
Yeah, and we made sure that this jetpack can actually connect to Megatron, Bumblebee, Optimus, so it works with all those characters as well. She has great articulation. She's got knees, ankles. She's got her wonderful bicep ball joints as well.
Can you show off the moving heels?
Oh, what the heels down here?
Yes.
Like what? So
That
that
was just such a nice touch.
oh, so that everybody believes me when I said she has
Yeah.
heels? Yeah, I can absolutely do that. She actually has a really unique transformation that I don't think is something that we've done before. That I found absolutely fascinating when Ajima-san sent it to us. So her rear wheels actually fold in half when she transforms, and it becomes her chest. It's very fascinating.
Oh,
So the wheels actually fold, but then they can still rotate. So it's very unique. It's something that I don't think we've done before. So,
I definitely don't recognize that.
whoops. No,
Have they
that's
done that
really cool.
with party, Steve?
I thought that was really interesting when he sent it to
Say
me.
that again, mate. Sorry.
Have you
Done
done
that
that in
before.
third party with wheels coming
so-
in half like
Really
that?
cool. She's got
Yeah,
some nice,
You
wonderful
did
tech
some on
inside her.
the,
and I hope you all have fun collecting
That was the
the whole
first
cast
edition
now.
RC.
So
from
that's
Transformers Prime.
that's the 4 members.
Yep.
We've got the whole team there.
Yeah.
And
And
then-
just talked about obviously Starscream. So
Well, yeah. Should I just go grab? You know what? Let's.
yeah, might as well.
Okay, we'll bring him out.
I just think it's so good listening
This is something,
sometimes to what they're
this is
saying.
really the going off script here a little bit, but this is obviously makes sense. So this is actually what stage is this?
This is final.
This is final?
Yeah.
Too small. Too
No,
small.
you're mixing
It's
up.
small.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
But so again, like obviously understand how much people are loving Transformers 1 as we did as well. I remember when we got the early screening, we were very nervous walking in, and then we walked out, I was like, oh my
I
gosh,
think
this is
it's too
amazing.
small, Steve.
We love this, and our fans are going to love this. So obviously,
yeah.
Transformers 1 is going to continue to be
It's.
a lineup that we
I'm not
continue to
entirely
flesh out.
convinced.
Of
As I
course,
zoomed down, I'm
as you
not
were just
entirely
talking about,
convinced by that
Faye,
head
the
sculpt either,
Seekers,
if I'm honest.
the Leader and Seekers, Starscream here,
Well, the High Guard from
the High Guard.
he's essentially the leader of the,
Oh,
Fallen
the
High
small guard.
which is a very interesting story beat. So yeah, worked with Kunihiro-san on this figure. Obviously, if we're doing one seeker, there will be other seekers. However, the designers in the movie decided to make every seeker unique, which is great for people who love the seekers. As a toy designer who's used to just redecorating, it's a lot of work.
One mold to rule them all.
Oh, not anymore.
Yeah,
not anymore. So expect that at some point in the future. So people are probably interested. It's like, what's going on with this blaster? When Starscream transforms into his Tetrajet mode, they based it very much off of like the
What does
Bumblebee
chat
main design,
think? Does chat
which
think
had-
it's
which was
Starscream's
based
too
off of,
small?
Obviously, the original Tetrajet from the 84
I think
series.
we get a few
So we
people
had,
that
like,
suggest it probably needs
these
to be a
kind of
Voyager.
protrusions down here, and transformation wise, when we're trying to figure it out, where it's like, okay, what do we do with those? Oh, okay, we'll make them pop up and be a blaster. Kunihiro's absolutely brilliant. When he was digging into the weeds of this, he was like, okay, and then when we do this, this, and this, we can partial this later to make this. And it's like, yes, that's wonderful. That's lovely. Thank you. But yeah, made sure to get all his colors in there and like to kind of do the best that we
I mean,
could.
I
to-
think they've done a good job of
reflect how we
Elita,
look in
although it looks very plasticky
Yeah.
arms.
No, it
with-
looks awesome as
you know, I
mentioned.
think they've done well.
More seekers to
Starscream,
come,
more
of
seekers to
course.
come, of course.
And we will not be
The
just doing pure
motorcycle
redecos,
transformers
we
are
will
always
be making
difficult to
sure
pull off
that
because
the
they have to be
sculpts
so slim,
match
and
what you
then
see
if
in
you're
the
not careful, the
film.
limbs look quite spindly, don't they?
Evan will be doing that.
Yeah. It makes it hard to get them all out at once.
Yes.
That's all. That's
yes.
the issue.
Yeah. They have to partial them out, and but obviously we'll full confidence these will look amazing, and you guys will get that done. So again, really excited to get the more Transformers 1. Again, be patient with us. We only have so many slots per year, so we want to make sure that we have love for, of course, 86, Transformers 1, which was an accidental but really good segue into our next and last deluxe for the last.
well, we can't
wave
be
of
happy
the
with
year.
everything, Steve.
And this is for Bayverse
It is. Concept series.
Concept Series, one of my favorite things that you
Kind of.
brought into the line. But this is where we were talking about
Yeah.
the fans. Please dive deep into why she looks this way, why she's a McLaren MP412C. Thank you.
You got it in one go. That's great.
Why did they choose
and it is a
those
fully licensed
colours?
McLaren vehicle. Thank you very
It's
much.
the
to McLaren
first
team. They were
toy of this
incredible
character, isn't it?
partners who worked through this.
Yeah.
I love the alt mode.
Very
It's the very
different
first
because
toy of
please
his character.
Talk to us about
Bear in mind, Age of
color
Extinction
choice,
was
the design
over
choice, the
8
history
years ago
from the
now.
film, and then
Gotcha.
why this toy is the toy.
So, I guess I'm going to start with worked with Kunihiro-san at Takara Tomy on this. So, absolutely brilliant transformation. It's a lot of fun. So, in Transformers: Age of Extinction, it is known that this McLaren
MP412C.
thank you, it shows up in the film and is a KSI drone of some kind,
Yes.
but we never actually see what that robot mode looks like. And we had concept art for what was at the time called Widowmaker, which Widowmaker ended up then becoming Stinger in the film.
Yes.
So they changed designs, they changed direction. That happens. And we loved that concept art quite a bit. And we wanted to bring it into our toy line. So we were like, oh, well, let's just, well, she was obviously red in the concept art because that's what Stinger's colors were. So we're just like, oh, let's just color grade this. Oh, look, orange. Yeah, it's close enough. And we think this turned out great. We gave her a little half cape on the back because that's kind of what her concept art showed as well. And it actually just kind of fit really well with her form factor. A lot of her concept art showed her leaning incredibly more feminine, and
Yeah.
not a lot of female Decepticon representation in live action.
I think young
unless you count,
Brandon will
like,
be
Alice, and then, you know,
definitely
you go into the
pre-ordering one of
Bumblebee
those.
movie.
Yeah,
Pretenders,
it
I don't
does
know if
look
they count.
good, and the
But
transformations to
happy
these
to
baby
get her out
spots
here,
are
and I think
always
she's a lot
fun.
of fun.
Yeah, and I want to say, goodness, is this? So we obviously had concept art, Megatron from Bumblebee.
Yep.
If you
We-
like transforming
some
stuff,
streaker.
you'll like
It's in the
baby
Bumblebee
arts.
movie. Every
Yeah.
once in a while, we just try to trickle them in.
Yeah, and so I mean, this I've seen fans share this concept art for years, and so that is
Like the name
now
Widowmaker
that we
as
started
well.
to dive into the concept
Yeah,
art, and
it's not-
especially
it's
with
definitely
Bumblebee
not one that's
Megatron,
been
seeing
used
how much you
before.
guys respond to that figure,
Yeah,
and of course that
definitely not
first 3
something
minutes
like
of Bumblebee
Blast
is
or
peak
something like that.
Transformers media. So
Yep.
we'll continue.
That was
you know,
the
as long
Transformer.
as
I'd be
you all
called
still
Heartbreaker.
like them, we will
What would you be
continue to
called,
dive
Steve?
into the vaults for concept art for
Oh, see,
not just
now you're
not just
putting me
live
on the
action,
spot,
but
aren't you?
also 86, Transformers 1, really everything.
I'll
Really,
come
it's
up with
just been
something
a lot of
probably
untapped potential.
inappropriate.
And like, oh, why'd they cut this? But this guy recorded voice lines from
Not something
86, but why?
simple
I mean,
like
put him in
Michael Bay.
Inferno and things like that.
Yeah.
So definitely something that we love, and it seems like the response has been really positive. So a lot more to come. But this is again when you get the female Decepticon representation.
Golly,
really
I've seen
cool,
your
and then
shots.
It's just a
I guess
Not like
super
it takes-
cool.
hasn't cost you a
I
facial.
know I said Decepticon, but she is technically a KSI drone, but they're taken over by
Yeah,
Galvatron,
yeah.
so then it's a gray area. It turns into a gray area. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy her. Yeah, she just turned out to be a really fun figure.
No, it looks
And we don't have a lot of orange representation just overall in Transformers.
It's for a
the
good
only thing
reason.
comes
It's
out is
not
like
the
Huffer's got
best
a decent
colour.
amount. Or is it? That's funny. I hadn't really thought about that.
Oh, okay. Write in the comments.
walking target.
Someone's gonna list like 100 of
Yeah.
you idiots.
No, that's fine. Give us your engagement.
Yes.
So, yeah.
So that wraps up the Studio Series reveals for pre-order. Again, 1 p.m. Eastern today, everywhere. So again, we're doing something
Well,
first time. Oh yeah.
before that, do we want to do timelines real quick?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So
I could
we
come.
obviously have the first what we call timelines multi-pack with Optimus and Starscream. Did that pre-order a few months ago. This has been
the
real-
Hearts of Steel stuff.
Kind
yes.
of Evan's passion project, taking inspiration from
I have to look
other
away and
90s
say
toy
no to
lines
this
where you
line. I
get your
can't
top 4
collect it.
characters in all sorts of different ages and times and different modes. So we really love to get the top characters in all sorts of different modes and bring a freshness to, of course, these guys right here.
Megatron
this
looks so
one
good.
Is Megatron and Bumblebee. We are going to have quantities available at San Diego Comic-Con.
Bearing in mind it
this
was only a
year, goodness, in
4-issue
a
series,
month.
I'm really surprised they've not done like
Yeah, I
a
know.
pack-in
And
comic.
We'll have more details
with
on the
these,
actual
'cause
the
you could've-
pre-order date as well, but these will
you
be
could
at San
spread
Diego
it across
Comic-Con.
quite well.
Wanted to make sure we show them off as the 2025 set.
We've got
Evan,
enough good
take it away.
toys, Steve. We
Yeah,
don't need more.
This was obviously something that I've been trying to get
Do
going
need more.
for
We need
a
that
couple years,
Starscream in
actually.
Thundercracker and Skyrock
It didn't
colours.
actually start with this, but it was
special
just kind of
feedback.
pulling from comic books and things like that, different representations of
Look at
these
that
characters and how
artwork,
they've
though.
shown up. I think someone was
Phenomenally
like,
done.
well, what about Hearts of Steel? And it's like, yes.
Do you like trains, Evan?
Just a little bit. just a little bit. Once or twice my parents might have said that if somebody wasn't a train, I didn't love them.
Used to kind of
that's
Tommy
gonna
on the
change.
boxes as well.
No, probably not. But yeah, just these are fantastic designs. We're happy to finally get them out there. If fans are super into them, hopefully we can dig more into this universe because there are some fantastic other character designs.
Wave
that
low,
show up.
doesn't it?
Shockwave.
Yeah, everybody brings up
Everybody
Shockwave.
brings up Shockwave.
But yeah, would love to get him out there. As you said, Megatron Bumblebee available first time at San Diego.
See now, buy now at San Diego Comic-Con. These two, Optimus and Starscream, are available for pre-order right now.
I already said it
That's a
before you
Pulse
typed
exclusive. This will be San Diego. It's not our San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. That's the Void Rivals pack, which you guys
And
have
there's
already
the
seen.
Technobot that I can never remember the name
really
of.
excited about this
the
one.
motorbike guy.
How did
Off-
you
off-
land on
Afterburner?
Hearts of Steel? And then
Oh,
second,
it.
do you
I can't
think
remember his name.
we
either.
should do another
But-
age of something for 26?
I mean, we are.
cheesy question, but what
what
can you tell us about 26?
what can I tell you about 26? What am I allowed to tell them about 26? I guess, hey, it's coming. It's gonna be the same 4 characters again,
Yeah.
but
There you
in a
go.
different theme.
Yeah.
I do want to say that these 4 were done by Ajima-san. I just wanted to make sure to get that out there. Over at Takara Tomy, which is fantastic. Of course, they're always fantastic.
I love the Megatron.
Yeah, the Megatron turned out great. Yeah, they turned out so good. But yes, we will be continuing to dig into universes. I will say next year's theme is actually a little bit more original.
I was just going to say
Yeah.
that. So obviously we had the comic books that you were referencing off of, and so
Yeah.
there's story and lore that matches these. The next set of 4, so yes, more timelines are coming.
Yeah.
And it'll be very similar. Another multi-pack of Optimus and Starscream, another multi-pack of Megatron and Bumblebee. Would love to hear, number one, what you think it might be, and then would love to hear, like, oh my gosh, if they're going to do this, you should do Age of fill in the blanks.
It would actually be fun if you would comment and tell us what themes you think would be fun to do.
Because this is really like white space lore that
Yeah.
for 26 you're creating, which
Yes.
I think I know that you guys love new alt forms, new stories, which I think is a huge part of why Age of the Primes is doing so well. Obviously, Mark's designs are insane, but also just adding lore to, a lot of things are like, this is my favorite theory, this is my favorite, and then like Mark is
That
really kind of putting
packaging does
flesh to the
look
bone on this is
incredibly
what
well
Optimus
done.
Prime looks like, this is what Micronus Prime. So
Yeah,
this
very
is,
well
I
done.
love what you've been doing on the timeline stuff. So more to follow on those. As we mentioned, available for pre-order right now, and then these will be on site at San Diego Comic-Con, and then we'll give you further details on when the actual pre-order will go live. Yep,
Sounds good to me. So
I love the packaging. Packaging
Yes.
is awesome. I know I've started to see people getting these at their houses, the first multi-pack, and you guys have really appreciated the packaging. Again, Amy.
no, this was Mario.
Oh gosh,
Amy does
it
the
is
next one.
Mario.
So this was Mario. Yeah, thank you, Mario.
But these look
Yeah.
amazing, and what Amy has done for 26 is like.
Yes, it's going to blow people's
my
minds.
gosh.
So,
I want T-shirts made with that art.
Well, I'm
so
looking
more to
forward
follow
to
there.
that.
Yeah.
Then.
So thank you for the reminder on timelines. And I think potentially the highlight of the fan stream is what we've got next.
yes, I think so as well.
So
I
this
like-
is something new. Again, I'll say this is kind of coming off of the learning on being late on Megatron, mea culpa. But this one, we are going to show you, as I mentioned earlier, the very first looks at 2026 Studio Series.
So we're going to start with, I think, one of the people's biggest requests, Arachnid.
Gosh, I didn't realize how tall she was.
Well, she's a deluxe, and I know I'm going to get comment flame for that. Make her a deluxe, but I'm sorry. At the time when we were developing her, from the height chart, that made the most sense. But now when we watch the movie, I don't know if they're angling her to look a little bit bigger, but it made sense at the time. That's how I'm going to word it. But
I mean, she's thin,
yeah,
but she's significant. Like, I think if you had showed this to me and just you give me your best bet, I think I might. I mean, it's like a deluxe plus. Let me grab actually Starscream. Yep. They give obviously want to always show the scale we can within universes. Or I'll let you.
yeah, it's okay. But working with the Ajima-san on Arachnid, we wanted to make sure to get her out there. She has movable legs that are on ball joints, so they can manipulate and go all around. And I guess I should state, these are gray models.
Yes,
What we are
yes,
showing
thank
off
you.
I
right
mean,
now.
I
For
really liked her
2026, we're kind of
character
giving
in
you
the
a sneak
film.
peek.
So yeah,
This is
to
essentially
see someone
Do
like
you
her
like
our
get the
first
toy
kind of
treatment
prototype
is
that
really
we make,
cool.
and we also base instructions off of these
It's a lot
models.
of engineering
we
and
wanted to bring them in and
ingenuity
just show
for
them
the
off
work.
instead of just dropping an image.
Yeah.
But yeah, And I have to say, the wizardry that Ajima-san worked to make this happen. Like, people who have been watching our streams, there was a joke I made about going back and forth with, it's gotta be a Voyager. No, we can get it to deluxe. This was her. That was where that interaction was coming from. She somehow still has a moving propeller, even though her legs merged together to kind of form that in the back. We did sort of had to make up her legs a little bit. In the movie, she just has, I almost want to call those the prosthetic legs, where it's like a flexible material. She doesn't have a heel. For a toy, we had to give her a heel so that she can support herself. Yeah, she ended up being a fantastic figure. She ends up having butterfly articulation just because of the way that she transforms.
Oh, wow.
So she has a bit of extra posability in her arms. Yeah, obviously it's a gray model, so it is a little bit loose. The joints will be tighter in the end.
And that's Hasbro actually
yeah,
ahead of
I
people
hope you
for
all
once, because I
enjoyed
haven't
this
seen
little
anything
sneak
like
peek
this on
that we
Bugle
have going
Bar
on here.
or Blockies
No,
or anywhere
thanks.
else.
I remember seeing her on screen for the first time. Like, that's a character we should absolutely do. I just don't know how that is possible. And then obviously you and the engineers figure it out, and this looks
This looks like
incredible,
Black
especially the
Magic,
deluxe
Steve.
scale.
This-
Oh, it's all a Jeep.
so
it's
like,
And
amazing.
to see
figured
these
this
kind
out.
of
Like, we
grey
went back and forth a bit,
prototypes,
but he
I
had
think
all the
it's
answers.
always
Yeah.
fascinating
As
to
they
see that
always
kind of
do.
Yeah,
work
as
in
they always
progress,
do.
isn't it?
But
Yeah.
So first look at Arachnid, and obviously no pre-orders today.
Nope, this is just the first peek of 2026. Again, we want you to get the first looks from us.
Yes.
So
Yes, we do.
we're trying to always improve and listening to your comments and responding to, because again, we don't want theories. We want you guys to know, oh no, I know exactly what Arachnid is going to be because I saw it on the Fanstream, and it is a deluxe scale, and the drum does spin and all those things. So yeah, this is awesome. But
And then I guess
we have
one more that we're gonna
one
show.
more gray model to show, although this is
Well, it's gonna be
Great.
great and an ET1.
which I love the EP ones because it's also like, oh my gosh, I kind of want them in those colors.
Yeah.
So of course, this is Alpha Trine. Again, this is also from Transformers
wow.
1. Take it away, Evan.
Yep. So this is a Voyager, also done by Ajima-san. Give me one moment while I get him to stand up because it's a gray model. There we go. So obviously the wizened teacher that also has to maybe not make it to the end of the film. Spoiler alert. Who gives everybody their cogs. We wanted to make sure to get him in there. He was monstrous compared to the rest of the bots in there. So that's why he is a Voyager scale. He turns into a unicorn lion, which is very interesting. Of course. And has some history in Transformers as a redeco and a bunch of weirdness there that they were pulling from. Happy to get it in there. He does have the sculpted battle damage and the rust and the grime and the kind of like the broken down aspects that you see him in when he is brought back to life in the film.
I'll show the back where you can really see some of the
They're
details. you put
further
on
along
there.
with that
That
one
was
with
one
the
of the,
engineering
like design flourishes that we
production
wanted to
model.
make
I
sure to
wondered
bring into this.
Alphatron's
They're really
coming
separated
out
from the
in
kids line
26
main
prior
core, which is
to
just done clean.
Arachnid.
But yeah, obviously we used the movie CAD for this. When in lion mode, he will have an opening jaw and all that fun stuff. We did have to turn his electro tail into like a whip for him, just because you needed something to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm
Yeah.
almost brought to tears
it's
about
just-
this.
It's a nice figure.
No, it's great. And again, gray model, EP1.
Gray model EP.
Colors will match film, don't worry. But again, in the spirit of transparency and giving you guys the first looks, again, just first sneak peek into one of our first Voyagers for 2026. Of course, pre-order details to follow in the future.
But as you
we're
have
gonna
said,
start,
Steve,
if you guys like it,
they should have
I
had
a
these toys
strong
out.
suspicion you do.
Yeah.
Transformers.
We'll continue
Absolutely.
to show off more of these early models, even if it's not just for pre-orders, just to give
You
you
should
an
have been
early look.
drowning in
Mhm.
merchandise,
just
and
gotta
there might be
see
a
what
Transformers
Evan's
too
picking up.
because of
Well,
it.
and
And
Mark
it's
and
cool
everybody else.
merchandise.
Mark and everybody just
Support.
give you these kind of first peeks. So hopefully you guys really appreciate this. Those are the only two gray models we have
Well, we're
for
gonna
today.
we're gonna pace things out.
Yes.
obviously. As we do more streams in the future, we'll reveal more. We're not gonna reveal everything in 2026 just yet.
And we still got to save some news for Comic-Con month. So there'll be some more news, especially on 2026 product and exclusives at San Diego Comic-Con. And then something else kind of new,
Okay.
I think. Again, we did our fan stream a couple weeks ago with Mark on Age of the Primes, and I asked you specifically to please comment on our Commander price point. Really appreciate all the comments. All sorts of different things.
Okay.
I think one of the biggest things that I took away from it was, please, more combiners, which no surprise there. The two that I saw
Okay.
in a not mathematical dated way, I just kind of looked at the comments and like the names that kept popping up, Defensor and Predaking seemed to be, and there was definitely some Rail Racer love.
Oh, okay.
There was all sorts of love out there, but
So all
those,
eras. Okay.
yeah. So it really seemed like Defensor and Predaking seemed to be the top two.
Everybody-
Thoughts on those?
Everybody likes the Protectobots.
Yes.
And it's interesting because we have Bruticus coming. I
Yep.
guess the Protectobots and Bruticus are kind of like the opposing forces there, so that makes a lot of sense. I love them. My favorite combiner when I
And
was
the
a kid was the
Protectobots are
Technobots.
clearly the best combiner teams. So
Yeah,
goes without
because I
saying.
told you that before this.
If
My
you ignore the
online
Predacons,
handle when I was a kid was Copytron. I'm like,
Yes,
want
I
it,
like that. I'm
online
glad you
game.
shared that. I love that.
Oh yeah, no, it's one of those things because then you hear like voice chat and people are like Computron, like they didn't know how to say the name, but it's like, oh, you uncultured swine.
Why doesn't anybody understand me?
Yeah. Rail Racer would be amazing. Those would each piece would be a Titan because he is monstrous.
Yes.
But that would be a lot of fun. Predaking is also huge. Obviously, that would be awesome.
Yeah, because what was like 5-6 years ago was the last time we did Predaking, maybe even longer ago.
He was a Titan
in
box
Combiner
set
Wars.
back in the day.
Yeah.
And they made him like just as big as Devastator, maybe a little
Power
bit
of the
bigger, but
Primes,
yeah,
wasn't
he
he?
would be very fun to
Predaking?
do.
yeah,
Obviously, there will be more combiners
Yes.
coming.
More to
and
come.
We love them. I don't know if we can confirm or
I
deny
hope
other than Bruticus.
we don't do a
but going forward,
combiners
yes, please expect more
based on the
Yes,
Predacon
absolutely. So
vote.
again,
I don't
appreciate your
want a
comments and
downscaled
feedback.
version of that. I want something better
and
and
a
more
couple people were talking
articulated.
about, I made the comment, which I'm honestly quoting you and Mark, where we don't ever like to leave a collection incomplete.
Yep.
So if we do one Seeker, we want to do it, of course.
Yeah.
Not done
As I
the
mentioned
throttle
before,
bot
we
so
only have
heavy,
so many
Nate.
slots, so much tooling per year, and we do our best to do kind of a inch deep, mile wide on
And
the
it will
fandoms,
be there to
recognizing
that
that
instruction.
really kind of every content for Transformers is somebody's G1, whether it's Beast Wars, obviously G1, even Transformers 1.
As
with,
I often
I think
said,
really
Beast
new
Wars is
generation was
G1,
interesting.
G1.
I sure hope
Very
so.
much
Rise
so.
of Beast 2, back-to-back movie years.
Yeah.
So hopefully
The small-minded people
that's
try
really
to
resonating
gatekeep
as well.
that, Steve.
Terrible. Shouldn't be allowed.
Talking about collections, two names that come out very often that I see pretty regularly, especially when it comes to these things. Because someone called me out, was like, Nate says he's going to complete every collection, but what about?
Mudflap and Skid.
Yes,
Okay.
please talk us through.
I think that's more of an eventuality. Right now, not so much. We bring it up every once in a while, and we put feelers out, like with like our greater team.
Yep.
And we're trying to see like what everybody's feeling. And every once in a while, it's just like, no, not yet. I'll never say never on this, though.
Absolutely.
I think it is an eventuality. I think we will get there eventually, just not right now.
Yeah. So you said that very well, because this is different than the discussion on Megatron
It
between
is.
Blaster and tank mode, because that is a legal thing.
Yeah.
There's no gray area there. We just can't do it.
Yeah.
These guys is more, how did you describe it earlier? You said it's like an emotional thing. So we know there's strong opinions on just make the stinking collection. And there's others people like, no. But to wrap that up, for now, there are no plans. That is not a never.
Yeah.
We are fully, I think the biggest thing is we're fully aware that those are two gaping holes in the collection. So it's hopefully a potentiality, but we'll see. Again, Evan and I probably every year kind of gauge the interest across the team.
It's not just us. It's also
exactly.
Tara and everybody else asking. Like, so it's an eventuality. It will happen eventually. Yeah, we hope. That's a good way to put it.
So thank you, on that's great, Evan. And then the last comment that I saw and it struck out to me is, again, back to combiners.
Okay.
Monstructor.
Oh. I think fans realize that the pieces are out there. But yeah, I used those molds a couple times, but maybe he's coming, and maybe I promise you, he won't be dinosaurs.
Yes.
That's how I'll put that.
So yeah, so stay tuned on Monstructor.
Yep.
Potentially coming. Potentially coming.
Potentially coming.
But appreciate that. Appreciate that.
That means
comment.
they've already built it,
And again,
haven't
thanks
they?
for all-
They've already
thanks
got the
for all
grey
comments.
models
We
out
do
there.
read it. We definitely care about
the CAD
what you
designs
guys
at the very
think and how
least.
we're doing, how the toys
Yeah.
are doing, and of course, that leads to actually our first. I think probably not ever, but at least on our fan streams, my first fan poll question.
Yeah.
This
Let's
is.
do it.
I stop by Evan's desk on a daily basis to just talk shop and throw ideas at them and just talk about what we're doing for years and certain designs and whatnot, which Evan is amazing to work with, as you guys know, especially those who have met him.
I'm amazed you can fit them now with how much junk is in there sometimes. Everybody has to like crawl and shuffle in, and it's like, yeah, I know I live here.
If only you didn't have so much secret stuff in there, I would love to like, give a cribs tour of your desk. But let's get to
one room you've ever seen.
Yeah. So here is the question.
Yeah.
I have asked this to Evan. We've had this discussion. I'm not going to clue you into who's on which side. You're probably going to know it. But here is the question, and this is about as short as I could get it. So, do you want to see toys of characters from season 1 and 2 of the G1 cartoon that did not appear in the 86 movie in the Studio Series 86 segment?
Yes.
Is that too weird?
Yes.
Is that blasphemous? Is that awesome? Yes, please, because these guys were in the world. And I'm not talking concept art like Inferno, where he's literally in the credits. I'm talking about.
Well, yeah, we've had this conversation many times because obviously there are different versions of the script. There are storyboards that show different characters and with scenes that got cut. And it always turned out to be a what is okay to show in Studio Series and label it Studio Series. So that's why we're reaching out and asking all of you, like, what do you all prefer? I'm assuming they want more. Everybody wants.
That's my hunch. But I again, we would please answer the questions. Just
I mean, there was
yes
a
or
story
no.
that happened at the arc, wasn't there?
We
So
will
they could
certainly
easily
put
do
that in our
characters
toolkit
from
as
there.
far as what we
So,
have plans in the
yes.
future. As I mentioned,
We've even got characters who glanced across the screen briefly, such as
we are
Sunstreaker.
I don't
You can
have
have a
percentage, but we're
Studio
probably
Series
like
Sunstreaker. I
75%
don't see why not.
Dead Wheel
86
Jack.
cast.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Dead
probably,
Wheel,
that's a good
Dead Wheel
number.
Jack and Wind
I
Charger to
know
Impact.
people have quoted
I
me.
don't think we need to go down the
slightly
wind charger route.
right
I
and
think
wrong about
Wind
saying
Walk
we'll
is
be done with
good.
86
It's
in
Wind Charger.
2026, and it's like, well, we'll just be reaching the bottom of the barrel.
Yes.
Like that. There will be more. There's always more. I can mine deeper.
I swear, if they do wind charger before the
There's no
Autobots,
bottom.
it'll be
This
like,
one animation cell, this
Yeah.
one interview back in 1986 that someone said, I recorded lines, but I got cut.
This one animation error.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so please help us out there.
Yeah.
But that,
I think that's our stream.
yeah, that's the whole stream. So again, 1 p.m. Eastern today, all the Studio Series except for the gray models are live for pre-orders. The timelines will be at San Diego Comic-Con. See now, buy now. More details to follow with that. Really excited to get these gray models out there. Really excited about the fan poll question.
Yeah.
I'll be refreshing the video with the answers and talking to Evan about that. So really excited about that.
No, I'm glad you do that. So, obviously, if you have any questions, reach out on Instagram. I know I've kind of been quiet on there recently. I'll get back on it. I promise. And obviously, anybody's coming to San Diego Comic-Con, come by and say hi.
Yeah.
We'll both be there. So will Mark.
Yeah.
do you know, I might need
it'll
to
just be
go
great
to that.
talk to you guys
one.
about Transformers. Anything else?
Tickets like
Present?
gold dust.
Okay,
aren't
wraps
they?
it. The next time you'll hear from us is at San Diego Comic-Con in a little over a month. So we're incredibly excited. Please, if you're in the area, please come and talk to either one of us. I'm sure Mark and Evan are way cooler than me. So whoever you want to talk to, we'll be there. We'll have the panel as well, like we did last year, where we have all sorts of new news, show off some models. And of course, you'll be able to pre-order and buy the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. Yep. Well, yeah, I think that's it. That's it. So again, thanks guys. Appreciate your patience. But that's all for Evan and me for today. And until next time, we'll see you later. Thanks.
The Transformers.
Brilliant. Some fantastic stuff in there. Absolutely fantastic stuff.
I know, and it's just I'm genuinely excited for the stuff it's potentially going to be coming soon. And Megatron looks awesome. And as I said before the stream started, but I think the guy just sexed up the colors too much in Megatron. And it's an easy thing to do, especially in Photoshop, and that you're trying to get the black to go good, so you're decreasing the shadow, you're decreasing the black. Suddenly you've lost track of what's happening with the gray, and it starts to have more of a blue tint to it, and yeah, it happens. It happens to the best of us.
I think with these live streams, I think it's what's really kind of important to acknowledge with these live streams, that is the design team and those kind of personalities behind the toys and behind the figures that we love have probably never been as accessible as they are now. I mean, this kind of, yeah, I appreciate Japan has had those Generations books for a number of years, and there's been designer interviews with the Takara team, and a lot of the grey model prototypes went in there. But we've never had access to this kind of insider information's the wrong way, but this kind of communication to the fans about what's coming, why it's coming, how certain things have come about, and
it's
it's
instant,
fantastic.
isn't it?
Yeah.
And you get genuine love, and it's good to see, because we saw it live on there, but they've said Beast Wars is G1. They said it there. They went G1, and believe it or not, Steve, I've been up against it with some people who just can't seem to understand how things are written and how it reads. Because if it's a G1, if it's part of the G1 family and it's a toy, it's a G1 toy.
It's a G1 toy.
Is that a G1 vintage toy? No, but it's different. You want to put dates on it? Go, but don't gatekeep language. Don't try to say this is how it should be said. Not in this loving community which we're all part of. But yes, it's somewhat. Sorry, I just went right off the tangent there. But Megatron, yes, Megatron just looked good, and I don't know what other people think. Controversial. I don't think it's controversial. I think Optimus Prime is the same height as Megatron and should be. I think in other cartoons, Megatron always started to be bigger, or Galvatron started to be bigger. I think apart from one sort of theme of cartoon where he turned out to be actually smaller than actual Optimus Prime's super combined modes when that started to happen. But I think because Optimus Prime was remade from Orion Pax, and it was remade to be a new and improved Autobot to fight and combat the Decepticons, I think him being the same height and being more modern makes sense. If you look at the LG1 cartoon, Optimus Prime would refer to Megatron as old and then junk and past it, and he was the new, improved, and somehow I think sometimes we have lost that kind of concept, because although Megatron was the new type of Decepticons who could fly and were weapons, Optimus Prime was new. A new type of defender who came out. He just didn't. So it depends on which you follow, the cartoon or the comics, as such.
I think to go back to what we were saying at the very start of the stream, Jamie, is that when and I know there are some side by side pictures out on the internet as well, but the Studio Series 86 knocks that New Age Romulus just unless you are an absolute diehard that Megatron has to be a handgun or a pistol or however you want to phrase it. The Studio 80 series, not only is it about 2/3 of the price, but I think it does a fantastic job. It really does it well.
For 55 quid, you're almost buying that. Like, it's like we've said, like mini masterpiece. I think we should maybe stop using the term, just call them what they are. They're just good, well designed masterpiece toys. I don't think masterpiece really holds it anymore like it used to do. And I think if anything with Chug listening to designers, what holds Chug back is sometimes the money men who say you can't do that bit of engineering you want to do. Because I think with the skirt, if you look at the skirt in Megatron, obviously it seems to me he had to fight to make sure that the individual bits of the legs had a skirt. Yeah. Where with Ironhide, you can see where they kind of spoiled the toy by not having a skirt, which is clearly cut to be individualized pieces, molded as one, with a pin right through the middle of it. So
I think when you look at some of these toys, and I appreciate obviously it's an older figure now, but I think it was Dave Wallace who said it, when you look at some of the things like the Kingdom Blaster mold, and you're looking at some of these figures now and you're thinking, this is the last blaster that I'll probably buy, because they are so good now. They're almost getting to their final form, to use a phrase.
The final evolution, it's like Pokemon, isn't it?
Yeah, very much so.
The cruel beast.
But I mean, this Mixmaster, as we said while they were showing them live, this Mixmaster it's almost gapless. There's not really any kind of filler
to have
pieces
something
that
beautiful,
you're going to buy.
You have to have something ugly. It's almost like it's almost like Lord of the Rings, isn't it? When they're making the Constructicons, there was rings to the elves, 3 elves and the 7 dwarf lords, and then rings to men, but 1 ring with all of the malice and evil. And that's gone into pure, Scrapper and this dude, it's just like,
I think he always comes off shortchanged, doesn't he, because of his alt mode, and he just ends up. I mean, Scavenger, sorry, because of his alt mode, he just ends up. His legs look a bit sort of thin
was-
and gaunt.
it was funny to see Evan starting to call him Scrapper.
Yeah,
Evan Scavenger.
mate, I'm terrible with it. Constructicons,
Yeah.
I'm absolutely terrible for doing it.
And then Grimlock. A lot of people are happy. I'm usually always against releases sometimes, especially when we've had it so many times. But we've had Grimlock in different colors, but I don't think there was adequate releases. And I also think when Grimlock first came out, it was still people were thinking, "Oh, I'll wait till the sales,
Yeah.
or I'll wait," and it was gone, and then they missed out. And there was lots of people trying to buy this because they love it. The Dinobots are good in both modes. A lot of people say you don't display your Transformers in alt modes, do you? But I think Dinobots
You do with
is
the
one of those things.
Dinobots. Yeah.
You would happily display them in the alt mode. So I'm happy for
Very much
people
so.
getting a chance for Grimlock and not having to pay these absurd prices out there. Starscream, I didn't think I would be disappointed. I am. I do think he's too small. I do apologize. I just think he should have been bigger.
So it's all about size with you, isn't it?
Yes. I'm a sizes person, which is quite funny for someone who's quite small, but yeah, I don't know.
I'm still not convinced personally on that head sculpt. There's just something about it that's not quite ringing true to me. I don't know what it is.
It's
I can't
almost
put my
like
finger on it.
I think I know what it is. Is someone smacked his face with a frying pan, hasn't it? Kind of flattened it out. It's the face doesn't have contours on it, does it? It looks flat. It's lifeless.
Maybe that's what it is.
It's almost like Megatron when he was strangling his throat, then got his palm of his hand and just started smacking them down. Yeah, but you can't win them all. And if Starscream had to be sacrificed so we get a good arachnid, awesome. Widowmaker, the orange color, not too keen, but I can see that it's important to have color representation out there for that kind of orange. But
It is. But it's nice to see them doing those deep dives and for characters and concepts that have never been touched, and to go back and to reference those and to bring them to the forefront. I think that's rather than, oh look, here's another Soundwave, here's another Shockwave, here's another whoever. That this kind of stuff, even though this particular figure is not for me, the mere fact that someone's gone back through to bring it forwards, I think is fantastic.
And I would love to have an interview where they actually have the Takara people and have a good chat. I just have a round table with them and just to watch it. I think it'd be awesome because it's obvious that these Takara people and the Hasbro people, they just love designing the toys, and they saw this and they just wanted to design a fun toy. And as I've often said about Bayverse, love or hate the movies, they try to do a lot with the characters. They try to create their own kind of universe, and they make fun toys. If you like transforming stuff, they made fun toys which were almost very forgiving as well, and it didn't have the same QC issues when it comes to the G1 based toys. Maybe because they didn't bother using so much paint apps. They used the color and the plastic, which to me is a way to go. Because if you look at third party companies, official third party companies like Blockies and Yolo Park and that, they have the color in the plastic rather than painting something on. That's usually when you start to have a lot of problems arise. And when they do use paint, it's minimal that you don't even notice it. Thundercracker, nice and blue. People might have wanted a bit of a darker blue, but I'm okay with it. I can understand, and I think, like you said, Steve, they've did a deep dive and they went into cutscenes and stuff, and they wanted to give individuality to these sort of figures, which I think they've done. And the face looks like it's got dimension to it there.
Yeah, no, they've done a good job with those. They really have. And
you were kind of hoping for a sort of a 3-party set.
Yeah, mate. If Takara stick all 3 of those in one of their sort of dramatic capture themed box sets, my wallet is toast. Absolutely.
Yes. Well, thank you, Steve, for bringing your knowledge to this fan stream from Hasbro Pulse.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's been a pleasure. And the people who don't know it, Steve is been a regular sometimes on Transformers the show, and he's got his own YouTube channel, which we'll put in links at a later stage when it's not so hot. He goes into deep dives himself about the wonderful love of the original G1 comics, which is exceptional to see. You'll always find links on his Twitter page and Blue Sky page as well. I don't think you post it too much on Instagram. You generally
Not
just
no,
focus
not
on
not so
photos.
much. I do tend to lean towards those two, but maybe that'll change. Maybe that'll change.
Yes, that has to definitely change. So hopefully you'll start doing that stuff on Instagram as well. So thank you everyone for tuning in. It's been wonderful to have you and your insightful comments, and hope to see you this Friday. Goodbye. And
Take care.
have a wonderful
It's time for Transformers, the show!